Hey, I'm Mike Marino, and you're watching Italian Sicilians Do It Better podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome with another one today. I am excited to tell you we have the New Jersey bad boy in the building, Mr. Mike Marino.
What's
How you doing,
going
Mike?
on, Mike?
That was a great introduction.
Mr. President himself.
I didn't even think you guys, being in New York, were going to hit that New Jersey bad boy thing. I thought you were going to get mad at me because I have that Jersey moniker. I came over to the bridge. And
I only have a problem when I go out there. That's my problem. It's not you coming in, it's me going out.
All right, stay here. Stay here. The tolls are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But as you guys know, coming here today was a little tragic.
Oh man,
It happens.
but
I'm sorry I'm so late. I apologize up front. I'm an hour late.
not at all. Not at all. My door for you, Mike, is always open.
All right. Well,
But how did that name New Jersey bad boy start?
well, hey, I never really set out to be a comedian. It's what was my goal. I was an actor since I'm a little kid. I grew up doing TV commercials. I was on soap operas and stuff like that. It wasn't until I went out to Los Angeles trying to break into television that I figured, well, maybe I should do some stand-up comedy. I went over to the Comedy Store, and eventually when I got past the Comedy Store and I started doing some stand-up, the legend himself, Andrew Dice Clay,
Oh, I love that guy.
said, I think you should come out on tour with me. We're going to do Andrew Dice Clay and the Bad Boys of Comedy. It's going to be me, you, Jimmy Norton, Wheels Parisi, even Sebastian Maniscalco was on the beginning tours when we were doing that. And he said everybody's going to be a bad boy from their hood. So, Jersey? I said, yeah. All right, New Jersey's bad boy. Because he's Brooklyn.
Right.
Brooklyn bad boy, Florida bad boy, Miami bad boy, Chicago bad boy. Wheels Parisi, I guess, was from Queens at that time. They called him the Queens bad boy. So that kind of stuck. And then eventually when you grow and you're touring by yourself, I figure, what could it hurt? I just kept it.
Yeah.
And then it became my first album, New Jersey's Bad Boy, live from, I guess I was in New Jersey performing at a place called Rascals Comedy Club, which no longer exists, but it was like one of the hottest clubs back in the 80s, 90s,
Wow.
70s, I think.
Yeah.
So you just said that you wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this started since you were a child.
Yeah, I grew up in, the Italian household, so impersonating your family would get laughs. So here you are, a 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid, and you're impersonating your Uncle Tommy. And my Uncle Tommy said this, and my Uncle Tommy took his teeth out of his mouth and he put them in a jar, and it would scare the bejesus out of you, right? So I started doing things like that. Then you figure, I actually wrote my 3rd grade play. I wrote the play. I was a big fan of, maybe you guys remember the Bowery Boys, the Dead End Kids, East Side Comedy. This is what we grew up watching on a Sunday when you came home from church, right?
Mm.
And I wanted to be them. I have an older brother, younger brother. They weren't interested at all, but I did. I just wanted to be a cut-up. I was a class clown. So junior high, high school, I was doing plays. But around 15, 16 years old, my high school band teacher said to me, everybody knows that you love to cut up and do crazy, funny things, Do you want to be a drummer the rest of your life, or do you really want to be an actor? I said, I want to be an actor. And he goes, all right, tell your parents I'm going to take you to an acting school in New York City on Sundays. And I started going to Herbert Berghoff Studios in New York down in the Village when I was like 16 years old. And I got really serious about it. Sometimes I even know where that teacher is. We talk every once in a while. He came to one of my shows about 2 years ago. He even said to me, he goes, you remember me? I'm like, how could I forget you? If it wasn't for you, I probably never would have went. And you think about it, at that time, it was okay. At this time, I wonder what they would do to a teacher who said, your son could come with me and we'll take him to New York.
Right.
Throw him in jail.
Exactly.
And that's the Village.
Perfect spot.
They're throwing us all in jail. So that's what happened in that time. And then I graduated high school. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. And I was already in the Screen Actors Guild. I already done a bunch of TV commercials. But I wanted to be in the business so badly that at that time you could crash commercial auditions. You could find out where they are, and the categories were different.
Yeah.
Blonde head, blue-eyed boy, your all-American boy, bite the hamburger and smile, and they'll pay you a lot of money.
Yeah.
This is way before any social media or podcasts. So to make a long story short, I remember I went to meet an agent. The agent said to me, "You're never going to work. You sound like a dummy from New Jersey. That voice, that accent, where you going with that? Besides, you have blonde hair and blue eyes. What the hell is going on in your mouth?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's the way I talk. I didn't know there was another way." And I booked one of the biggest commercials in the world. The first time they ever spent $1 million on a TV commercial. I had to play a Marine coming home from boot camp on United Airlines. So when it came out and it aired, I was an instant rock star. Wherever I went, everybody said, "Oh, you're Private Zelensky from United Airlines." And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm Mike Marino. I'm an actor."
Right.
And fast forward, I was one of the top 5 commercial actors in New York City for like 6-7 years.
Wow.
I'll tell you this much: if that agent's still alive, I hope he feels like a jerk off. That's the only thing I got to
Oh,
say.
the story gets even thicker.
Oh God!
You really want to know?
I do.
We get the time.
I
for
love this
one.
shit. I love this stuff.
All right, so here's the real
Go ahead.
reality of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City, you're not allowed to work as a professional actor. They want you to graduate. So after 3 years and you graduate, you are now Academy royalty and show the world what you learned at the Academy. Well, I was only 1 year in, but I was so hungry to get into the business, I figured, well, they're never going to find out. Who's going to find out that I worked as an actor? Well, they found out. So the lady who at the agency said to me, I mean, I could say any of this. It was the J. Michael Bloom agency. I don't think they're existing anymore. I think the guy passed away years ago. It was one of the biggest commercial theatrical agencies in New York City. So I met the lady and she said to me, "You're never going to work. Go away." Well, the commercial came out. When the commercial came out, mind you, I had really thick, long blonde hair. I looked so Irish. I looked like a surfer from Malibu. Me and my 2 brothers, we looked very Irish. My mother has blonde hair, blue eyes. My father has blonde hair, blue eyes. We looked like beach kids.
Yeah.
Who sounded like, "Hey, how you doing?" Which made people go, "What?"
What did you just say?
What is that? Yeah.
That's what catapulted me into stand-up, because I don't look like a traditional Italian kid.
Right.
So I booked a commercial. I had to shave my head to look like a Marine. Back at that time, they paid me $5,000 just to cut my hair.
Wow.
Fly to California, shoot the commercial. Commercial comes out. Turns out to be one of the top commercials of all time. It's so sentimental. It's sad. It's got a story. It's got music. So after 3 months of it airing, I got nominated for a Clio, Best Male Performer in a TV Commercial. I was 19. I didn't even know what a Clio was. What's a Clio?
It's the lady who gives out those readings over the
Fortune.
phone, Miss Cleo.
Remember her?
I do remember her.
Cleo.
I called twice. She didn't pick up my phone call, the bitch.
She didn't see it coming. She wasn't good.
There you go.
We'll be right back after this commercial. Right? When I went to the awards and I didn't win, it didn't really matter. The head of the office, J. Michael Bloom, called me and said, "Come on in, we want to talk to you." So I go to the same office that told me I'm a dummy, and I had to meet other people who worked there. It was like 25 people worked up there. So now I go meet somebody else, and the guy goes, "We think you're fantastic. You got a great future in the business. Let's just sign you, and we'll introduce you to everybody at the office." So now you're going to this person, to this person. Oh, this person does print. This person does commercials. This person does movies and television. This person does kids. And you go into all the offices, and I go to the last one. It's the lady who told me I sound like a dummy.
Oh, please tell me you asked her.
And the guy goes, "This is our new sign. This is Mike Marino." And she goes, "Oh, well, what are we going to do?" He shaved off all his head, all his hair. And the guy goes, this is the guy, fucking Cleo. And she goes, oh, okay. And she goes, you know, in the commercial, you sound like you're from the Midwest. And I go, yeah, I go to the academy. I've been training as an actor. I know how to speak clearly. Just not the day I met you. And then I ended up, doing really well. See, that's a time, though. You think about it, 19 to 23 to 24, back in the early 80s, you could make $30,000 in a commercial you shot one day, and then you never went back there again. And they had the residuals. I mean, that's not around anymore. But I remember when we used to call it commercial audition hopping. You would go every day somewhere, peanuts, potato chips, hamburger, whatever.
What's the weirdest commercial you've done? Like, you didn't do like a Preparation H commercial, did you?
Not yet, but I'll do it.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I use the product.
I mean, there's your
I'm in my
sign.
60s
Sponsor
now.
him.
I use it. I don't even have to use it. I just like the cool, minty, fresh smell. We've been drinking. Oh, I've been drinking. It's late in the day for them. It's early for me.
So, Mike, obviously, you had a passion to be in front of a camera. What inspired you? Like, what actor at that point in movies did you look up to that made you want to do that?
De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I remember I would try to impersonate him. I really would try to impersonate all the different actors. I wanted to be like them. Think about the time. It's really, really different in the 80s and in the 90s, what was going on in the world. You would see all these commercials and you would like to impersonate the jingles, the songs, the people. And but I did have a big affection for Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, he was
That
awesome.
a legend, yeah.
And I just wanted to be him.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to be a comic, but I liked watching Rodney's movies. I thought he was funny, he was silly, and I would impersonate him as best I could.
His one-liners were killer, man.
It's unbelievable.
I don't even know where he pulled them from. I have no idea.
I loved Andrew Dice Clay. I wanted to be Andrew Dice Clay. At that time, of course, that's what was hitting.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work if it started out now, but Dice is still on tour. He's still killing it. He's still in movies.
Yeah.
He's
He's
a
hilarious.
good man.
His Instagram posts,
Yes.
I die laughing all the
He's
time.
hilarious.
He says hi to people. Do you remember the picture? The picture.
You want to take a picture,
They're like,
right?
what the hell are you
Who the
talking
fuck are
about?
you? Get out of here.
I love that.
When I was, I guess, in my 30s, and I was working out at the Comedy Store in Hollywood, my father came to visit. Now, my father was a big smoker, 2 packs a day, easy. I used to do jokes about my father. I said, if he wasn't smoking cigarettes, I wouldn't know who he was.
Right.
I'm like, is that you, Dad? And that's where I got some of my catchphrases, and that's where I got the putting out of the cigarette, because my father did that.
Yeah.
He was the type of guy, maybe you know these type of guys, their smoke is so intense. So if you said to my father, hey, Dad, can you tell me how to get to Queens? He would go like this. I think you got to take the Verrazano. But he had to smoke the cigarette first to give you the answer. So I started doing that.
Right.
So when I was working out at the Comedy Store, my father was visiting with my mother, and my father was in the parking lot, and I was hosting an open mic. And my father comes inside and he goes, hey, your buddy outside says you're doing really good. He's going to take you on the road. I said, who's my buddy? He goes, the guy outside smoking a cigarette. He kept taking my cigarettes. Fuck. And I go, what are you talking about, Dad? I don't got any friends who smoke cigarettes. Your friend out there, I don't know his name, with the leather jacket and the cigarettes. I'm like, Dad, are you talking with Andrew Dice Clay? Yeah, I don't know. He's out there. He says he likes you. And I'm like, that's Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah, he's got my cigarettes.
He's got my cigarette.
He was worried about the cigarettes.
My father became buddies with him because Dice was looking at my father as if to say, this guy don't even give a shit who I am. He's just chilling with me. He's not even saying a word. So when we did go out on tour, and my and Dice got together in the green room, Dice walked right by me. He goes, is your father here? I'm like, yeah, he's over there.
Oh,
That's freaking
It's a
awesome.
nice story, though,
No,
because
that's
they
beautiful.
bonded.
That was cool.
That is really nice.
You don't hear that a lot.
So something we just, sparked me to ask this question because I think it matters. The fact that you've done this for so long, what are your feelings on how hard it was back in the day, the auditions, and you had to run from place to place versus today, it's just a simple post on social media that could get you the gig. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer because I know a lot of comedians my age are going through the same thing. We've been breaking our asses for years, coming up with funny stuff to say in front of a live audience that pays to see what you do for an hour, not for 30 seconds or for a minute. And yeah, you see these new guys just blast out something on the internet for 30 seconds and then they're selling out 1,000 seats and you wonder what the people get when they see it. What are they doing? What's so good about what they did on the internet that made you buy a $50 ticket? But I've seen some of them, and some of them opened for me. And you look at them when they're done and like, not like you thought, huh? Don't worry, I got you. I did a few. And I had some people say to me, listen, the influencer is going to do 20, 30 minutes. And then you go up there, you just do your hour. And I say, okay. And then you see the influencer get off in like 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And then the guy goes, I don't know what happened. Could you eat up his time? I'm like, yeah, give me his money.
Yes.
Give me his money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
You
blame
want me to do an extra 20 minutes because they didn't do what they were supposed to do? Give me the check. And what made you
Unbelievable.
think they could? Because I remember when I did have some jokes go viral and some clubs would call me. They're like, hey, man, we really like to book you. And I go, okay, but do you wonder if I could do an hour? Because that joke was only 2 minutes on television. Oh, yeah, it's all right as long as you sell the tickets. Now, that's a great thing, but you're not going back. Because if you stink, who's going to pay to see you again?
Right.
True.
100%.
Some of them are really fantastic. I will give you that. There's some comedians that did some phenomenal stuff on the internet. Praise them.
Yeah.
And then there's what we would call a doo-doo. And you're like, come on.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? In a way, you want to say there's room for everybody.
Absolutely.
There's room for everybody.
Exactly.
I tend to just watch what I do, and I like to be around entertainers that I like being around. I mean, as soon as I walked in your house, I'm like, I'm staying all day
Aw.
because I don't know how to get my car out. But when you walk into a house like this and you see plastic on the table, I'm like, the food is going to be good in this house.
Oh, yeah.
And then you guys were recording in the basement. I'm like, I'm home. I'm home.
Ma! The meatloaf.
I love that.
Yeah, it was
Can't
awesome.
forget the little door,
Love that.
too.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if your camera's videotaping the tiny little door.
I don't see that.
We could do jokes about that for hours.
Listen, you know how Italians like their storage space. Don't make anything to a storage space, so that's my little door.
But it's like you probably have relatives that are that small.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
My family in Toronto, they're that small.
Yeah?
They
Really?
might even hit their head.
Stop.
That's it, though. It's nice to see the little door.
So, Mike.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So, Mike, what are some of the best and like worst moments of like comedy? Like, did you have any like moments that were like the best? And
Yeah, there's always going to be, hopefully, the best moments. Sometimes you feel like you already hit your best moments. There might not be any more, but that's the insecurity of any entertainer. Like, is it over? Am I done now? Because there are the years where you're kicking serious ass. And then all of a sudden, you're not. Nobody knows who you are. So do you stick it out? Do you reinvent yourself? Or do you get out of the business like so many people have? And then, yes, there's always going to be a horrible moment, unfortunately, because in live performing, which is the greatest feeling, you get on stage and you get all these people laughing and screaming and wanting to meet you. It's a high. It's a drug you're never going to put in your arm. It's the best sex. It's the best food. It's the best. But when you're done, you're like, okay, well, when's the next one?
You want
When's-
more?
I got to have more. And how come I only sold out 2,000 seats? How come I didn't do 5,000? How come he played Madison Square Garden and I didn't? That's a dark place to go.
Fucks with your
So I
head.
try to just focus on what I do. But a couple of months ago, there was a couple of hecklers. Now, most hecklers are just having some fun.
Of course.
You could take them on a ride with you. But if you're a skilled comedian after doing this for 30 years, you think you're going to beat me verbally? I'm going to assault the shit out of you.
Try.
I'm gonna
You can fucking
screw
try.
you up. This is all I do. So I could tell body posture.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got to pee? Who didn't want to come?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't want to be here. I'm better than him.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so I saw these two people, and they were sitting in the front row. They're always in the front. And I could see the body posture of the husband, and he was a lot bigger than me. And the woman, they kept on talking to each other. So I said to him, look, here's the way this works. Everybody in here has seen me several times, and they paid a lot of money to watch me again. You people probably have never seen me before, and you don't know who I am, and I get it, because I can tell. That's why you're sitting right there in the front. That's a bad place. So why don't we do this? Why don't you just leave before I verbally assault the shit out of the two of you? Oh, you know, just do what you do. And they kept on talking while I was performing. So the bouncer came over, and he sat next to them. And I don't know what the guy said. And she said to the bouncer, we're just being annoying so we don't have to pay for the drinks. And I heard that. And I said, that's it. Get up and get out. Get out, you know. And they weren't moving. So I got off the stage, and I got in the guy's face. Now, technically, you should never do that.
Right.
But I was heated to the point where I just can't take it no more. And I think at my age, I might have a right hook that'll, you know, if I don't land it, I'm going to get killed. But I'm going to try.
Die trying right there. Fuck it.
So the guy was saying something. I got off the stage, and the lady got between us. And I said to the guy, you know, I don't know how much dirt I could say on the show. Are you allowed to curse on your show?
Yes.
I said, you fucking pussy. You had to have your wife get between the two of us? Look at the size of you. And she threw an entire drink on me.
Oh my gosh.
And so I went to go for a right cut. And the owner comes over, and he grabbed my arm. Marino, get back on the stage. Get back on the stage. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'll kill her. You know, I wanted to hit the lady. Get back on the stage. So I get back on the stage, and they're making this big whoop-de-doo, and the audience is now getting the greatest show of a lifetime.
Of course.
Because now I got a drink on me. But the actual law is, if you're on stage and you're assaulted like that, you have a lawsuit. If you're on the same grounds as the person, you don't. I didn't really know that, and I didn't really care. I was looking for blood.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go outside, and they got arrested immediately because the club owner already called the cops to say there's going to be a problem. Wow. My comedian's irate. He's going to lose it. So they call the cops. So as soon as the people walk out, they get arrested because they're going to go get in their car, and they're drunk.
Oh, wow.
It's funny. They all know that this is going down. But now I have to clean up this mess.
Right.
Pick it back up.
So you just go up on stage and you do something like, you know, the last time my mother came out, I told her, stop heckling me.
I fucking warned her.
I'm like, Ma, come on. And who's that guy? You do something like that. But you know what? It's in your head the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would anybody do that? Why?
You stew on it. Yeah.
Why would someone sit in the front seat to be miserable at a comedian show?
Yeah, and pay a lot of money. I'm
You
sure
know?
the seats are expensive there, right?
They want their free drinks.
Miserable.
That's crazy.
It's not just that. Think about it, some of the stuff that we post, right? Everyone gets all these likes, they share, they this, and we always get this one motherfucker on there with a stupid comment. Always. But the question is, why? How bad of a day are you having that you got to say something? Like, I get it. Free country. Do what you want. Really, though? Was it really necessary?
I did this one joke on the internet. It's got, let's say, 3 million views.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And thousands of, this guy's funny. This guy's got good ideas. My eyes go right to the one that says, what a jerk. Somebody should beat him up. And I'm like, why should somebody beat me up? What's your problem? Now, naturally, I have a publicist, my social media manager, and as soon as I reply, I get a phone call. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop. I'm like, you
didn't read that? I read that. You didn't read that?
Don't engage. Don't engage. I'm like,
and you stew, bro. It's not good. And I hate, it's like, because you know why? You would never do that. You wouldn't go on somebody's stuff and say something
I never
nasty.
do.
That's what I'm saying. So it's back in the day. What was it? If you have nothing nice to say nothing at all. That doesn't exist anymore. Now it's if you have something nasty to say, make sure everyone reads it.
I just see it as that they're jealous because half of them don't have no profile picture or followers or whatever. So it's like
Whatever it may be.
trolls.
For me, it's like it's just one person just trying to be funny, and sometimes it doesn't even land. I said this last time. There's one comment that was on a Facebook post that we did. We did those. You ever seen those? I am Italian stuff. We did one, and this one comment still to this day makes me laugh. It goes, he phrased us, we're Italian, we're all 50 pounds overweight. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like it was a good shot, but you have to back off and say, all right, that was good. You win.
But that's the thing, you know, we now have a platform where, you know, you could perform or share a story or whatever, but then people just, it's easier to be a keyboard warrior versus back in the day where it's like, tell me to my face. So
You got to give him an address.
yeah. So Mike, I got to tell you, you know, watching, you know, how you did all these things and the stand up, and the one that sticks out to me that I could watch every day of you is when you were on a talk show. And by the way, I know you were on the Tonight Show, you were on all these things, and I would like to know what that feeling was for you when you got there. But the segment that I like that you did that gets me all the time was Make America Italian Again. And then you were talking about the two guys from Jersey and the way you were putting out that cigarette and how you were back with the rugs. Man, I could watch that segment of you all the time. And it's the funniest thing ever. I mean, I love you, Mike. I mean, those skits that you do.
You know what's really great about all of that stuff? I wish it started hitting again now, but it seems like it is. And, you know, I have new albums, I have new jokes, but that at that time, I actually did not know it was going to be that big. I don't think the people on the show knew it was going to be that big. But sometimes I think it's cool to know the history of how it actually happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
That TV show is called Comics Unleashed. The owner of the show is Byron Allen. Byron Allen is now a multi-billionaire. He owns so many different TV channels. It's incredible. But I had tried to get on that show for at least a year, and I couldn't get on. They said the casting director said, I'm not right for that show. Well, the casting director got fired. A new casting director goes in. The new casting director is from New Jersey, and he worked at the Laugh Factory. So it was a phone call. Hey, Marino, we're taping. Come down. I'm like, really? After begging, I get it now?
Mm-hmm.
With no audition. Well, I know what you do, Mike. Come on down. So I go down to do the show, and he says to me, look, I'm new here, so you need to hit a home run. You're my guy. And I go, all right, I think I know what I want to do. And he goes, what are you going to do? And I'm like, just let me do it. Just let me do it. So when they tape shows, you know, the audience is papered. They're being pushed to laugh. They watch maybe 5 shows for the whole day, and they make them laugh. And this was the last segment. And I was on the show with Jimmy J.J. Walker. And I was like, oh, my God, it's J.J. from, right? Dynamite. and I was happy to meet him. And so when he came over to me and he said, what's this about an Italian president? And then I went into the bit about whacking Osama bin Laden. All of a sudden, this entire audience just started cheering. They came back to life. They weren't tired anymore. So my body just said, get up, get out of the chair. So when I got out of the chair, I don't think anybody on that show did anything anywhere like that. And they leaned back. And I could hear Byron go, oh, fuck. He's going to fucking lay into this shit. So I did the cigarette move, and I did a clean version of whacking Osama bin Laden. And when I sat back down, that audience erupted.
Yeah.
But nobody said anything. It was another day at work. It was about maybe 2-3 months later. I was at a comedy club, and I got a phone call going, dude, have you seen your YouTube channel? I'm like, no, why? What's going on? He goes, dude, you're at like 2 million views. And this is also at a time where YouTube really wasn't that big. And there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. It was MySpace.
Yes.
And it was ding, 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 ding. And then your phone rings. Hey, dude, it's Byron. I think we should do a TV series. Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah, come on back in. So I taped a few more segments. The series never went into production, but I ended up touring the world. And there's also a follow-up to that, and I really wished I had that on tape. Maybe I could still do it. I don't know if it's going to be fresh enough. You guys remember when we first went to war with Afghanistan and Baghdad and all of that? Well, I was on tour in those areas with the USO comedy tour. And I remember doing the joke in front of 5,000 enlisted men and women on an aircraft carrier. And I said, if I was the president, that's when I started saying I should run the country. And this was what I would do. And they were screaming and going crazy. But if you remember, there was a time where NATO said France didn't want to help America.
Yes.
France didn't want to be part of it. So I went like this. If I was running the country and France didn't want to help America, I'd cut the head off the Statue of Liberty and send it back to France as a warning. And they were like,
Oh, shit.
they're like, don't mess with America.
There you go.
And you see people going, it's a pretty good idea. But a joke that could make people just go that wild.
Yeah. It hits.
It's a great feeling. And that's how that happened. And then, of course, Make America Italian Again, I just made as a web series. We were just me and some of my friend comedians. I says, hey, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this and try that. And then everything was going viral because, it's stupid. It's just stupid.
Are you having fun?
And reality is funny. It makes people laugh, and we're not hurting anybody.
Right.
And every play on words you can think of, we were doing. Have you watched any of these clips that I had done with my friends? And I said we because everybody thought the writing was unbelievable. It's an improv. Everybody was improving. We were just having fun. So you'll see if you go on the internet and you watch this one particular clip called The Pizza Guy. And we're all dressed in suits and we're talking about how we're going to get rid of Putin and how we're going to get rid of the guy in North Korea and we're going to take over. Then there's a knock at the door. And I go, who is it? And he goes, it's the pizza guy. And I go, who ordered pizza? And the guy goes, I did. And I go, but now he knows where we are. See how stupid this is? And now we're not talking about being president. All we want to know is what are we going to do with him? He knows where we are. This is the secret hideout.
Right.
And we can't whack anybody. We never whacked anybody in our life. We're fake. So when the pizza guy comes in, I say to him, how'd you know where the house was? And he goes, the phone guy. I go, what?
That's
He
two
goes, the phone
people.
guy, Glenn. Oh, now there's a Glenn?
Yeah, there's two guys.
Great.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
dumb. You know how hard it is to be in a room with 6 guys and not crack up laughing? And you're all looking each other dead in the eye. But you don't know what they were going to say.
Right.
That's awesome.
So if you were on the set like this, your face would start cracking. But the serious guys, they can hold it. So when the guy came in the door, I didn't know he was going to say what he said. You guys got to watch this clip because it's so priceless. They're all stand-ups, but they look like mobsters, and then they act like them too. So when I said to him, how'd you know where we were? And he goes, the phone guy. I go, tell me about this phone guy. He goes, his name is Glenn. Glenn? Does Glenn know where we are? He goes, looks like I had to bring the pizza. And I go like this, put him in the kitchen. I'll talk to you later. And we interrogate him. I love doing things like that, and I love being around other comedians. You guys mentioned your favorite comedians. When we get together, and it's a mess of
Laughter.
talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned one of my favorite. You said Jim Norton. I've loved that guy since Monster Rain. He has always been my top. Him and Patrice. God, rest his soul. Love them. They you know why? Because they spoke. I think the comedy that I like is, and you do it too, is it's truth speaking. It's not just being stupid. because it's hilarious. There's hilarity behind it. George Carlin, same thing. He was a humanitarian, but nobody saw that because he would want to see chaos. No, he was just disappointed. But his comedy came from a serious place, and it was reality. It's just it was a lot, and
Truth is always funny
it has
Yes.
to be.
because everybody knows the truth. Everybody has a family, whether it's an Italian family or any kind of family. They can relate no matter what you say. You talk about food. Come on, you think the Italians are all just about food? So are Greeks. So are,
Yeah.
Indian, whatever. So you talk about family, makes you laugh.
Mhm.
The movie I did with Jimmy Norton and I was called Crooks. He played a post office worker who stole stamps from a post office because we all thought they were worth money. And I play the bar owner.
Mhm.
And we got the job because he and I were opening for Andrew Dice Clay at Rascals in West Orange. 2 days later, we both got a phone call. You guys would be great for this movie. He plays my brother-in-law.
Awesome.
Wow.
That is
And
awesome.
we were both really just doing open mics at the time. It's a long time ago. I think it was like 2001.
Yeah. Oh,
Jimmy Norton cut his teeth as a comedian in New York, New Jersey. I cut my teeth in Los Angeles. That's really where I started doing stand-up, Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
yeah.
Where has it been I mean, you've been and you touched 100,000+ stages. Where's that one that stands out on you to be like, I love that place. That place made me feel like this.
Well, that's a tough answer because there's so many places I love. And performing, I love. I can't wait to go. So if there's 50 people or 5,000 people, I can't wait to go to work. As long as I don't have to deal with any craziness and any doo-doo-doos or any jealous, angry assholes that want to screw me up, I love going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the one that would always stand out in my mind is the first big comedy special I did. It was 2006. I got a nice chunk of change out of a production company out of Los Angeles. And they said, go pick a theater, get 5 cameras, go shoot a show, and send it back. That's at the time where they were pressing DVDs and selling them in Target and Walmart. So I got the Paramount Theater in Asbury Park, New Jersey, because Asbury Park is an iconic place for people like Bruce Springsteen and Danny Aiello and Danny DeVito and all these big names that come out of there. So I had this theater called the Paramount in Asbury Park, which was condemned. It wasn't even open. It's 1,600 seats, and I was lucky enough to get it for free because they weren't using the theater anymore. People don't go down to Asbury Park at that time anymore.
Wow.
So I got the theater, and it was built in the 1920s, and I feel like, well, I can have like a big day in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my director and I had my producer, and everybody said, but where are you going to get the people? I says, well, how many do we really need? It's like 300 people. We'll shoot the cameras that way and it'll look like it's full. Well, I did a publicity stunt at that time, way before any social media. And I prayed for 500 people. And when we were backstage, me and my team, and the cameras were all set and the jib arm was all ready to go and everybody was having their snacks, a fire marshal came backstage and he said, I need to know who's in charge.
Uh-oh.
And I said, I think I'm in charge. He goes, we have a little bit of a problem. You're at capacity and there's 100 people outside. And I go, lock the door, shoot the show. 1,700 people in a theater where they haven't had that many people in 20 years.
You brought it back to
Wow.
life.
I felt like I did. And when I walked out on that stage, you remember, it's an opera house.
Mhm.
So it's like that old, looks like the Titanic.
Yeah.
And your heart's just pounding. And as soon as I saw all those people, you just ignited into like, oh, I'm going to fuck you up.
Oh.
And I really wasn't at my top of my game. But at that time, it was do or die. I was only shooting one show, which is not the way you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get 2. But I did it. And I think that was probably the greatest night of my life to date.
That's awesome.
And I've done bigger shows.
Yeah.
But it was something about it.
Stuck out.
Mm.
Nobody expected it. It was my first album in stores. You go to Target, and I'd be like, that's me.
That's my
You can buy
face.
my- you can buy
Yeah,
my
and,
ticket.
and the fact that you chose a spot that had no life to it. Mike, you brought that place back to life.
It's thriving
You
now.
made it harder and you nailed it.
Now you got to be worth a lot of money to live in that town. The theater rejuvenated itself. I mean, when I went in there, they had a switchboard and a light board that looked like something from a Frankenstein movie. And the big picture.
Oh, shit.
And the bulbs had ghosts walking around.
Nice.
It's cool.
So, Mike, I saw that you have a couple of projects in one project in post production and 2 in pre. You want to? Can you talk about any of those?
I could talk about anything.
Let's go on and let's get into it. What do you have in post that's coming out soon?
About a year ago, I got part in a movie called Silent Partners. It was supposed to be a TV series, but I guess they decided to make it a full-length feature. I actually was lucky I got a part in this movie because a friend of mine, Gary Pastore, who's in the movie, plays one of the head mob bosses, told the movie maker, Ciro DiPaggio, about me, came to see me do stand-up, and he said, okay, we're going to let him play an underboss. So I played the underboss to this one particular crime family. Takes place in the 80s in Miami. And I had a great time. They loved me. And I saw the premiere. And it's nice to be on the screen like that again.
Absolutely.
And then now I'm working on a series which I hope we go into production because it would be right for everybody. Everybody. It's just a wholesome remake or kind of takeoff on Mayberry.
Oh, wow, really?
The Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, yeah.
Only today. It's called Reconstructing Jersey. Just about a construction family trying to make ends meet. Yeah, they're Italian. Yeah, they eat in the basement. But it's not about the mob. It's not about wise guys. It's not about knuckleheads. But it's silly, happy people.
That's refreshing, to be honest with you.
Silly, happy people. The dialogue that I wrote will make you just laugh. I don't care who steals the scene. There's little kids in it. There's older people in it. This lady who plays my mom never acted in her life. She didn't even want to do it, but she looked like my mother. Right. And she comes from that, we're old school, where they cook in the basement and you don't go upstairs because that's for the, I don't know, the needer people or something like that. And she was perfect for it, and she did it. And then the real lives of the people in the deli, the people in the butcher shop, the people in the cut your hair, and the silliness of your town, the people who live in the town. Can't park there. That belongs to Joey.
Dedicated parking spots.
Yeah, you can't, that type. See, it made you laugh.
Because we live
It's
through that.
relatable.
It's relatable.
You got
yeah.
garbage cans out. They put it that my car goes there, and then we fight with them. We move the garbage cans. Fuck you. You don't own this shit. And then I park my car, and then there's a scratch.
On my dad's block, they still do that though.
They still do that?
I'm not even joking.
Somebody needs a bat on your block.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I created
that's
a
awesome.
scene in Reconstructing Jersey, which is based on true. I've never been married. I have no kids, but I have nieces. So the nieces become my kids. And they go to school. I have a sister, and she has this kid, and her husband's not tough like the uncle. Kid gets caught taking something in the school store, got to go to detention. So instead of calling the husband, go get my kid, she calls her brother, go get your niece. So we go down there with a couple of guys in the construction company to get the kid out of the trouble. When I walk in, the teacher's hot. And she says, your daughter was caught stealing at the school store. And I look at her and go, it's not my kid. My kid never would have gotten caught. I mean, I don't have any kids. I'm just saying, if I did, wouldn't have happened.
Wouldn't be here right now.
And so the teacher goes, but then why are you here? And I go, her father's a wimp. Right? And the little kid's sitting there like a little bitchy type kid.
Yeah.
So when I finally get the kid and I go, what did you do? And she goes, I took some chalk. I go, for what? And she goes, well, I know this guy who's got detention and I like him, so I figured I'd get in there too. And I go, oh, God, I thought you got caught for real. See the joke?
Yeah. That's awesome.
And she goes, don't rat on me. And I go, I don't know nothing. I got amnesia.
That's why they
And
love
then I
it.
go like this. Is your teacher single? And she goes, I don't know. And I go, let me go in there. I'll go in there. And I ask out the teacher.
Nice.
But I don't say to the teacher anything normal. Do you want to go out on a date?
Mhm.
I go, listen, my mother's making dinner on Sunday around 2. And if I know my mother, she's going to complain and saying she ain't going to make no more food because she's had it. She's too old. So you want to come over? And she's supposed to be Irish. And she goes, did you just ask me on a date to your mother's house? And I go, yeah. And she goes, all right, I'll come.
Oh, shit.
So then the sister says to me, did you ask out my daughter's teacher? And I go, yeah. And she goes, that's not right. And I go, think about it. Your kid gets caught again, she's going to get a half a sentence.
Just after
You
this
see
whole
how
stint.
fun?
That's freaking
It's
awesome.
not fun.
I kind of don't want you to stop talking about it. That's,
Right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing is all the same. They're all looking for love.
Yeah.
The kid wants to go meet a guy. I want to ask out the girl. The other guys are outside saying about who they're dating, where they go, what they do. It would make everybody on the planet happy.
Yeah.
So I really hope that this goes. And,
So do
and
I.
with the way things are these days, you can do your own projects. Pull
Absolutely.
up your friends. You say, hey, play this part.
Yes.
Put this on your social media. Put this on my platform. Where do you want to watch it? We could do it.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful and happy that you guys do what you do because you're carrying on tradition that sometimes a guy my age might think, is anybody going to do it? I'm 61 years old. I look at you guys like, come on, man, you can do it. I know all about the Sicilians. I mean, I'm a Bruzzese, but I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I'll eat in your house.
I'll eat in your house.
How much different is it going to be? A time of day? It's actually not that much different. We grew up Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Everybody was Italian in certain areas. Everybody made their gravy or sauce, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Everybody made their wine, and everybody made it fun. I mean, my neighbor used to make the wine, and he put it in 7-Up bottles. We used to tell him all the time,
Right.
why'd you put it in a 7-Up bottle? He goes, who's going to take my 7-Up? Nobody.
That's true.
Right?
You know what's funny about that? I went to visit my grandmother out in Sicily before she died, and they kind of did the same thing, except she it was like a ailment that she had with her stomach, so it would be like this tree. I don't know. It tasted like tree bark to me. Same color as Coke. She had it in a Coke bottle. However old I am, thirsty, middle of the night. It's already 90 degrees at 6 a.m. My dad wakes me up. He goes, "Let's go get something to drink." I go downstairs. I go, "Ooh, Coca-Cola." Bro, I drank this thing. It's like I ate the root of the tree in the dirt. I vomited. My dad goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I'm like, "Taste the Coke. Taste the Coke and tell me you don't want to do the same thing right now." It was so nasty, dude.
What
And
was
it's-
it again?
I don't know, dude. It was like something to settle her stomach. It would have like bay leaf, like some twigs in it, some weird fucking ancient mystical fucking potion. I don't know what the hell it was, but let me tell you something. I had never had anything that bitter, that disgusting. And I said, you couldn't just take the label off the Coke? You couldn't put it in a green bottle like a 7. That's why when you said 7-Up bottle, I started laughing. I'm like, you just brought me back 10 years ago, man. You brought me back.
Twigs in it.
Jeez, it tastes like shit. Oh my God.
I wish all those people were around. I miss all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I miss all of that. That's why I watch. I watch your podcast. I watch other guys. I want to hear what they're talking about. I want to see that they're carrying over the tradition. I didn't think anybody was coming over anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, it's not like they did back in the day when they had to come on a ship.
Yeah.
So growing up for me, Mike, it was, my parents came from Sicily. I think my mom was like 11, and when I was born in my household, Italian was my first language. I went to school talking both. So that was hard for me, but it's just, I'm trying to teach my kids today, for example, and I feel like it's harder because, we speak the English at home. But I want you to talk about your experience growing up. How was it? Because I remember you mentioned to me earlier, you did not speak the Italian. How was it growing up with parents and grandparents from the other side? Talk to us about that. Were they supportive? Did they understand the entertainment that you wanted to get into? Were they supportive of that
No.
stuff?
No. Parents had no idea.
They
what
wanted
I
a
was
hammer in your hand instead, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My father had a construction company. My 2 brothers worked for my father. And so did I. And if I didn't go to California, I might have just ended up in construction like everybody else because that's normal. It wasn't until they saw me on television that they started to go, oh, yes, that's my son.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sank in.
Yeah.
Mm.
There you go.
And then I had aunts and uncles who would say the same thing. Oh, that's our nephew. He's on television.
No, you're important.
Yeah. But my mother had 3 sisters and 2 brothers. Her oldest brother never came to the United States. He died around 23. He had 2 kids. His wife never remarried. From the age of 19, she wore black. Those 2 kids never could make it to the United States because something happened with that family line that they could only go as far as Toronto, Canada. Then my mother's older next brother and 2 sisters, another sister, they all came at around 15, 16 years old. So, okay, their first language was Italian. They're Bruzzese. They're from a town called Duronia. It's in Campobasso. I've done my whole family history. I've read about everything. My mother's 3 sisters died 30s and 40s
Oh, jeez.
of things that you can cure these days easily.
Right.
And the oldest brother died, I think they said. He was in construction. He had some water at a water fountain in Italy, and he got influenza or whatever disease, and he died. So the family, okay, now has to take care of the kids because they're aunts and uncles. But if your 3 sisters die before your mother does, you could imagine how these kids grew up. Poorer than poor, broker than broke, bilingual. They all spoke Italian. So getting treated poorly at that time, the Italians coming over, what are we talking about, 30s, 40s maybe?
Something like that.
They didn't want their siblings to speak Italian so that we would be trained Americans. Especially 3 boys who have blonde hair and blue eyes will assimilate very quickly. So a good amount of my cousins that are alive today, yes, they speak Italian. They're bilingual. But my mother would never let us speak Italian. She would always go like this, tick-a-lock, no. But she did, of course, especially when she wanted to talk to my father behind the kids' back. She didn't have to walk out of the room. She just
Switch.
banged it out. There was a time when I was 21, 22, I went to Italy for the first time. I was doing a commercial. Join the Navy, see the world. And I went to Rome. And I spoke my mother's dialect the best I could. I knew how to have a conversation. Hello, how are you? I'd like a slice of pizza. Whatever. That I could do. And I remember people going to me, you're better off speaking English. I don't even know what you're saying.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
like, really? What the hell is a get each? Huh? And I go, my mother says that? That's when you started learning what a dialect was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had people say to me, are you speaking like the bastard Italian?
Oh.
Were you parents from the Mountain Guineas? What kind of parents do you have?
Oh, shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. In
That's
Rome.
great.
In Rome. Then I was shooting this commercial in a town called Gaeta, which is where they have the naval ships. And nobody speaks English. So you have to walk around and at least speak Italian. So you had the little book. There's no Google now. I had the little book. And I would speak Italian the best I could. And people looking at me going, what the hell are you saying?
Like I said, no.
You know? But that's the way my mother would speak.
Right.
I can't, of course, everybody would say buongiorno or buonanotte, but they had a weirder accent about it. It always sounded rough. So instead of saying, Caric, my mother's,
Quesadich.
she would never say it like that. It was more like, capire, capisci.
Ma tu non
It was
capisci?
like the big G's in there,
Yeah.
I really, like everybody else, never knew the English word for food or any curse words till I moved to California. When somebody said to me, would you like the calamari? And I go, what is it?
Calamari?
Calamari.
We're having manicotis. I'm like,
Oh,
what is
shit.
that? What is that? I don't even know what that was. And my mother, being off the boat, she did say gravy. She would explain it, if there's brajol and there's meat and there's sausage and there's meatballs, in the sauce, it's gravy. If it's not in the sauce, then it's a marinara, which she would say marina. That was sauce.
Hmm.
All right.
So you got to wonder, is it a Jersey thing? Is it a New York thing? I know everybody likes to argue about it. As far as I'm concerned, just let me eat with
Oh
you.
no
I
no
don't
no
care.
no!
I'll
You
eat
could eat it. You could do whatever. Our thing that we always say every show is that we always ask, is it gravy? Is it sauce? We caught one person who called it gravy, and I lost my shit. But and I'm glad. No. But I like the way he did it. He did it easy. He lubed it up before he said it. He was all nice about it. Like, I don't have to lose my shit now. But I've heard the same thing. If there is a meat in it, if it's mixed with, it becomes a gravy. But even then, at that point, I still don't kind of get it. That's my thing. That's what I ride hard. There's a couple of things that we all have our little niches about that we're like, that one's mine.
That's it, Mike. He ain't sleeping tonight.
I have a routine that I do that I always say the word sauce in the act.
Mm-hmm.
And people say to me all the time, why'd you say sauce instead of gravy? And I go, because I got to make it generic
Right.
for everybody. Is most people don't even understand what the hell we're talking about. This is amongst us,
Right.
really. And I know some people get animate about it. Me, I'm just, as long as I'm not late for dinner, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you want.
Yeah, there you go.
There are some people in our family that do say sauce. The Canadians, they say
They
sauce.
say sauce. Okay.
It's the weirdest thing. And they're all fluent Italian. They look at me like, I can't believe it. And I'm like, and we're the bloodline is just that close.
Right.
But it's really sad, too, because you're looking at your cousins that you kind of don't know.
Mm.
Wish you did. And their kids will look at you as if to say, how are you related to my dad? I'm like, I'm actually related to you, too. You know?
Don't you love those stories though? Like when someone, you mentioned to me earlier too, like you just met someone that said, I'm your cousin.
Yeah.
Don't you love to hear those stories and then how they break it down? Well, yeah, your dad's sisters, cousins, and then you just get to learn about and explore things that you didn't know. I find that interesting. There was a time where my father-in-law, for example, I went over to his house one day and his table was full of paper. He built his own tree and his family tree, and he went all the way to these roots where it lost me. But then the stuff that he learned and the smile on his face just to learn the history. That's why what you said to me earlier, I appreciated that because it brings me back to understand things that I've learned about my family. It's what people have sacrificed or what people went through or the reason why they came to this country. That to me is a successful story. And then you were also saying, which I like you to talk about, is, you know, your house, your home. When you saw the plastic on my table and things like that brought you back to memories. I love that stuff, Mike. That is why I do this, is to share my culture, to keep that alive. And I couldn't be happy to continue to do this. So the fact that you said in 10 minutes you were in my house, I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's true. As soon as you walk in this house, you feel like you're a nice Italian home. You're going to eat good. You take a look at the tablecloth, you know there's something in that refrigerator that's going to make you happy.
Well, you could look at me and know we good.
Well, that too. Then you come down the basement and you look at these guys and you say to yourself, I better eat good. I might not make it out of here. I don't even know where my car is. But it's fun. It's great. You feel like you've been related to these people your whole life. You never met them. My mother did do the plastic. They had the runner on the floor. You couldn't come in the front door. You had to come in the back door. You don't play upstairs. You play downstairs. If the traffic light goes out at noon, you better no. If the street light goes on, you got to be in the house.
Yeah.
You know, the old school tradition. But everybody on the block was like that. Everybody had the same thing. If your phone rang in your house at 6 o'clock and your father was having dinner, somebody going to get beat up. The phone's ringing. Which one of your friends is this rude that's calling his house? Ma, you had to ask permission. Ma, can I make a phone call? Who you calling? You know how much money it is to make a phone call? Like, well, I was calling the neighbor. Then go over his house. You know? How could you not miss that?
It's like prison rules. It's like prison rules. Think about it.
And you obeyed and you stayed
That's
the
it.
course.
That's it.
That's amazing how we all went through that, you know?
You know, I was not allowed to watch TV during dinner.
No, absolutely.
No way.
Absolutely.
Our kids now, they have the iPads and everything.
We ate in silence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't either, yeah.
No, see, I didn't eat in silence.
Back then,
We
they didn't.
when we had dinner, we would go over how we fucked up during the day. My dad would rattle down the list. Well, you're an idiot for this. You're an idiot for that.
Again, you're a
You know?
special case.
Yeah, exactly. So our family dinner conversations were either silent or he was pissed about something. You know what I mean? Got your dad who's in the union doing X, Y, and Z. He doesn't come home happy. You know what I mean? My mother comes home. She's another one. Oh, my boss is such a bitch. This and that. Real family conversations, they don't happen anymore.
It was mass tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got me into stand-up. Because I didn't think I was ever going to tell jokes. When I went to California and somebody said to me, you know, when you talk about your family, when you talk about your uncle, and you talk about your mother and father, that's hilarious. And I go, what's funny about it? That's the way they are.
Right.
Do that on stage. And I'm like, well, all right. And I did. And people were cracking up. My mother would make us breakfast. 3 boys sitting there having breakfast with my father. And she would go like this. Now, I made yous all lunch. And make sure that you're home by 5, because we're making dinner for your father. And you're like, wait a minute. We didn't even finish eating breakfast. We're wondering what's in the bag for lunch, and we got to be on time for dinner. All in that period of time. And it was like that every day. And then my mother would threaten us by going like this, and make sure you're home on time, because I don't know if I'm going to cook tomorrow night if you're late. That was the threat, that you would go hungry, so that you came home on time. And then my mother would go like this. You see how I made Thanksgiving? And there's 50 people here? I ain't doing it no more. I'm too old.
Every year.
And your relatives don't even appreciate it. You think they'd come over with the coffee and cake, leave the coffee and cake? I've had it. I'm too old. Somebody should take a picture. I'm not doing it no more. And then she'd cook for Christmas and say, okay, so this is it. Get a good look at this. Because when your mother's dead, ain't nobody going to be left, and nobody's going to do it. So I pulled it into a joke. And I says, my mother's been saying it's the last time she's going to cook for so long that I think it was her greatest ancestor that was responsible for the Last Supper. And that's how it happened. The mother said to Jesus, look, I've had it. I'm too old. I can't do it no more. Call your friend Leonardo da Vinci. Tell him I said, paint a picture of you and your friends eating, because this is it. This is the Last Supper.
Fucking
And
awesome.
for 40 days and 40 nights, they fasted because Mommy wouldn't cook.
Oh, shit.
Until Easter came, and then she cooked, and that's why Christ rose again from the dead. He smelt the sauce and the meatballs. He was Italian.
There we go.
And that's how you pull a joke out of what's going on in your real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Because my mother really did do that. And she was on the money.
Yes.
Because as soon as my mother passed, nobody comes to the basement. The tradition is over.
Yep.
Now, when my family gets together, they go to a restaurant. Today, I said to my relatives, listen, we're dwindling. Let me have Easter at my house. Let's all go down the basement. Nah, it's too much work.
See?
Let's just go out. And I go, but I'll do everything. I'll do everything. I'm not going to cook like Mommy did, but I'll order in. And we'll have a feast in the basement. And everybody can see the tradition that I put all over the house. You could see it. Nah, let's go get for Chinese food. Chinese food? On Easter? What about the gumbiettes? You guys say gumbiettes?
No.
What is that?
It's the wedding candy that you get in the little...
Oh, confete.
Oh, confete. Oh.
See the dialogue?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
the dialogue.
Dialect,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My mother would say, oh, I hope they give us the gumbiettes,
Oh.
which is the
The almond candy.
almond candy.
Yeah.
They were pink. But they came out at Easter, too.
Yes.
And you bit into it and you busted your molar.
See, that's the problem too, because I remember having like you have a small basement and then like a whole bunch of people in the same basement. No one had a problem with it. Now it's like you said, like everyone goes to dinner and like no one wants to like. Then they have their kids and they're like, no, it's too small. No, this and that. So it's sad, you know.
I still have the kids' table, and I got the adults' table, which was a 4x8 piece of plywood that they put on top of another table. And I still have the knives and forks and dishes that I told you we're not supposed to eat off of because they
Right.
got the whatever's wrong with the
Toxins
plate.
and shit.
Why are your lips black?
You remember you sat at the kids' table and you're looking at the adults,
Yes.
and you'd say to yourself, "Listen, someday
I'm gonna be there.
I'm next.
Yeah.
I'm next.
graduated.
I'm gonna sit at the adults table, and then your family, your friends, the kids would go. There's only one way to get at the adults table.
Mhm.
So as soon as grandma dies, you jump up.
Oh.
There's only one way for so you get.
That's it.
Somebody had to die.
Exactly.
Then you get their chair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a union.
Yeah.
You gotta, that's what it is. It's a fucking union.
I'm in the union. What happened? Grandma died.
She retired.
I have in my house all the antiques, all the family stuff. So in my grandmother's house, she had like, the curio. What do you call it? The break front. My mother would call it a break front, where all your china is, but you don't touch it.
Oh, the China
Just
closet. We
looks,
call it
the
China closet.
right? It was so small. It was lucky it had paper plates in it
Wow.
and a couple of other tables. Now, they're all from the 30s and the 40s, and they're in my house.
Nice.
I have a refrigerator from 1950. So I found my great-grandmother's house coat. You know, they cook in it. What's it called? House coat.
House coat. Yeah, yeah.
And a picture of her sitting in the chair at the table with the house coat. So I took it as an 8x10. I put it on the wall, by the table, with the actual apron, all in the corner. So people come into my house and they go, "What is that?" I go, "That's that lady wearing that stuff in that." "What year is that?" "It's got to be in the 30s. And they're looking at me like, "Is this a museum?" I go, "Around the entire house."
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to ask me if I'm authentic, I don't have to tell you. I'll show you.
Right.
I'll show you. I wish I was in those pictures. We even have some pictures of great-grandparents that look like me.
Mm.
And people are like, "Wow, is that you?" I'm like, "No, but I'm a descendant of that person." And it's kind of fun. It's like The Shining. It's creepy. I got some areas of my house that are pretty creepy, man.
Yeah. That's how you know it's
I
authentic.
have a house that was built, I guess, in the 1920s. So when the heating starts and it makes the noise, psst, ding, 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 people sleep over. I'm like, "Hey, man, there's some weird noises in your house." I'm like, "It's my parents.
It's my parents.
They're flying around." Careful, man. Don't touch my mother's stuff.
They saw you looked at the dish.
Don't touch it.
So, Mike, before we wrap this up, I wanted to ask you about that jacket.
Oh, all right.
I like the
Sometimes-
collar. I've been staring at that collar.
Sometimes we get fans that like to make you things. And there's this fan, her name is Anna Dre, and she has a company called Upcycled Creations. And she takes old things and she makes them look new. So she made this jacket for me, and all around the jacket it says "Make America Italian Again." But on the front it's got like this Gucci patch. It's really not Gucci, it's just, some stuff that she threw together. So I enjoy things like this. Look at it, how crazy it is. It's
That was
fun.
awesome.
It's silly. So I wore it on stage a few times. I'm going to wear it tonight on a show. And I wore it on a talk show. So when I was on the talk show, like we're talking right now, somebody said, "Well, where'd you get it?" And I told the story. Anna Dre, Upcycled Creations _27. So she ended up getting a ton of orders
That's awesome.
for jackets and handbags and hats and stuff like this. So she was so nice, and she says to me, "Well, what can I do for you?" I said, "Oh, I don't want nothing." She goes, "You don't understand. My son, Maddie, works for Justin Bieber. He does his social media. Would you like something?" And I'm like, yeah.
Justin Bieber.
No, I don't want you.
no, not that.
So they gave me a huge marquee for free
Awesome.
in Times Square
That's
Nice.
fucking awesome, dude.
during the Columbus Day Parade. And I'm standing there wearing that jacket going, "Let's make America Italian again."
Nice.
Boom. So now I got hats
Oh, that's
that
awesome.
say
love
"Make
that.
America Italian Again."
That's so great.
And I got shirts, and there's a red one, and here's the blue one. I just got them this morning, but I'm going to make this announcement right on your show.
Sweet.
This Make America Italian Again shirt and hat is being sold by the Hardcore Italians.
nice.
All right, I do that.
Nice.
Great
Yeah.
guys. Great guys.
Hardcore Italians. They're the best. They're nice. They're traditional. They like having me around.
They like having me around.
He left
And
like
I'm
he's
happy with
surprised.
that. I love sharing the Italian stuff, I think it was in the early 2000s. A bunch of Italians from New York and New Jersey got together for the first time, and we created the Feast of San Gennaro, Los Angeles, California.
Wow.
It had never been done. And the first year, we really didn't have a lot of people. But the second year, that's when Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla got their show. They put their name on it. Before you know it, the streets was packed with a feast that town had never seen. By the fourth year, it got so big, people from Italy were coming in. We had a circus, we had animals, we had food, we had the tradition. All these movie stars, all the guys from Goodfellas and The Sopranos, and everybody would come. And I was hosting all these big galas, and I met all these famous people. I ended up going on tour with Dean Martin's daughter, Dina, and Robert Davi, and Joe Mantegna. And this is how they were really... It just was insane and how great. And I'll never forget the first year we carried the Saint down Hollywood Boulevard. It was never done. And all the guys from New York, New Jersey are carrying the Saint. The Saint was built by this guy, and he was incredible. When we were going down the boulevard, you know, they blocked off the streets and everything. Had the Pop Pop parade, just like in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And all the people on the boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, were thinking, are they making a movie?
Yeah.
What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And while we were going down the street, I heard some people go, I think they're making a mob movie. Get the mafia out of here. Get the mafia out of here. You see all the guys at the same time, we're putting the Saint down. Let's go.
We're gonna brawl right fucking there.
I'm like, look, there's only 6 of us. There's like 2,000 people out there. Because we could do this. We could do this. Go, who? But the funniest thing is it started to go down at the same time. It was like this. And what was really cool about it is a lot of guys who put the feast together really didn't know each other. We all met in this thing. I mean, I could tell you stories. If you remember Dom DeLuise.
Yes.
Dom DeLuise was doing a cooking show with shrimp. I was co-hosting the show with Dom DeLuise. At the time, I was doing a lot of sketch comedy on a Tonight Show. So I actually knew Dom from the Tonight Show. So we're giving out the samples, and everybody's having fun. Some guy comes over to me and he goes, my 2 kids didn't get any samples. And I says, well, you know, mister, this is a brand new Feast of San Gennaro. He's really just demoing how to cook shrimp, you know. And he goes, that's false advertisement. I go, no, this is a feast. All the money goes to a charity. It's going to the church and whatnot. And he goes, well, we should have got something. So I go, well, I'm the vice president of this feast. I'm sure I can get you some pizza. You want a couple slices of pizza? Yeah, that would be good. I go, all right, well, what would you like? Then the guy goes, I'll have a plain, but my kid likes pepperoni and he likes sausage. I go, the 2 little kids, and for you, I'll be right back. So I go to this pizza guy, and I don't even know him. I'm like, hey, man, I'm Mike Marino. I'm the host of the big event and the other thing, and I'm one of the vice presidents. Can I get some pizzas? And he goes, yeah, whatever you want. Take the pizza. I take the pizza, and I go back, and I give it to the 2 kids, and I give it to the guy. Meantime, there's this guy, Mario Macaluso from Brooklyn, who I hardly know, standing behind me, laughing, because we're all having a good time. Look at what we did. We made this big feast for all these people in Hollywood. And I go, there you go. Welcome to the Feast of San Gennaro, mister. I hope you're having a good time. And the guy goes like this, I'd rather have had the shrimp, quite honestly.
Motherfucker.
Out of nowhere, this guy, Mario, threw his arms around my body and picked me up. I don't even know the guy. He just knew I was going to knock the guy out. Isn't that amazing? See how mad you just got? I went like this. And so there you go. And he goes, I'd rather have the shrimp. I went like this.
So you cocked back.
He grabbed me and he picked me up. And he goes, don't do it. And I go, what's your name, man? And he goes, I'm Mario Macaluso. And I go, how'd you know I was good? And he goes,
come on.
I would have.
Come on.
isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It kind of makes you feel like that's how we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You read each other.
Yeah.
That was an East Coast connection that you had with him, man. That's what that was. That wasn't an LA thing. That was an East
that
Coast
guy
thing.
was from LA.
No. You and
The other guy was from
So the minute he heard that reaction, he's like, he's gonna fucking swing. Let me grab him real quick. That's why.
There's no conversation.
No, you don't
and while
need
he was
it.
dragging me away, I actually said to the guy, I was going to knock you out in front of your kids.
Welcome to
Let the
San
little
Gennaro.
bastard see something too. I hit him too. I don't give a shit.
I'm going to knock you out in front of your kids.
Knock your front kids. Welcome to Centenaro Feast.
Get your shit and get out.
It's a $10 cover now.
Awesome,
Well,
man.
Mike, I want to thank you for coming.
Oh, absolutely.
From watching you on social media, meeting you in person, it's night and day. I'm so glad we got to meet you. And the fact that
Yeah.
you came all the way from Jersey into your favorite Queens area.
Oh, this is the best. I can't wait to leave. Took me 45 minutes to come to Queens and an hour and a half to find the house from a 5-minute drive away. So said the navigation. My navigation said, you know what, turn around, go
Just
home.
go home.
Go
Just
home.
go home.
They ain't even there. I don't even want to live. Leave. We having sandwiches?
Mike, thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
I can't wait to come see you in person.
Yes, let's make that
And
happen.
just know that we're here for you if you ever need anything.
100%.
We are.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.